My stepdad installed a camera right outside my bedroom to protect me from our neighbor. And the night I came home early and heard someone breathing outside my door under that camera, I realized I might be trapped in the apartment with the wrong man. I froze in the dark hallway. The only light was that tiny blue dot on the camera, blinking above whoever was standing in front of my room. My mom was at work. The neighbor everyone warned me about was on the other side of the wall. And the only phone that got alerts from that camera was in my stepdad's pocket. In that moment, I had two options. Walk forward and find out who was hovering outside my bedroom. Or run. By the end of this story, you'll see why I did the one thing everyone told me never to do. I ran straight to the same neighbor my stepdad swore would hurt me. Before I tell you what I heard in that hallway and what I found out later, you need to know how we got here because on paper, my stepdad looked like a hero. And while you're listening, I want you to decide for yourself. Was he a protective parent? Or a controlling creep? If you're already feeling that something is off, like this video right now so more people see it. And remember your answer, because I'm going to ask you to drop it in the comments at the end. For most of my life it was just me and my mom. No dad in the picture. No siblings. Just the two of us in a small apartment that always smelled like coffee, cleaning spray, and whatever cheap dinner we could throw together after her shift. We didn't have money, but we had routines. I'd come home from school, dump my bag on the floor, and she'd yell from the kitchen, "Shoes off, backpack up, then you can complain about your day." Her idea of a relaxing night was crime documentaries. The kind where they interview neighbors who say, "He always seemed so nice," right after they arrest a serial killer. We'd sit on our saggy couch, and she'd pause every 5 minutes to lecture me. See that? That's why you never ignore weird vibes. Don't walk alone at night. If a grown man shows too much interest in you, you run. You hear me? I used to roll my eyes. "Mom, I'm literally 12, I'd say. "Nobody's obsessed with me." She'd just shake her head. "Men who like control don't care how old you are," and press play. So yeah, I grew up careful. Not paranoid like her, but careful. Then she met Mark. He was a regular at the pharmacy where she worked. Clean haircut, button-up shirts, that nice office guy aura. He started coming in more often, always picked her line, cracked jokes, brought her coffee by coincidence at the exact time her shift started. When she finally introduced him to me, he showed up at our door with flowers for her and a bag of my favorite snacks. "Because your mom says you love these." He asked about my grades, what I wanted to study, what music I liked. He actually listened. I wasn't used to a man doing that. I remember my mom watching us from the kitchen, eyes kind of shining like she already saw our future. Us three at a dinner table. Some cartoon, perfect family picture. Within a year, they were engaged. Within another few months, we moved into his condo in a better area. Everyone called it an upgrade. Secure building, nice neighborhood. "You're so lucky," her coworkers said. "You finally have a father figure," my aunt told me. "Be grateful. Some girls never get that." So I told myself to be grateful. At first, it was an upgrade. Bigger kitchen. My own bathroom. No more hearing the couple upstairs fight through the ceiling. There was even a dishwasher, which felt like we'd made it to another tax bracket. And Mark? He took the role of dad very seriously. He gave himself 3 jobs: provider, protector, and rule maker. The rules started out normal. Text me when you get to school. Text me when you leave school. No walking outside alone after dark. If any teacher or boy creeps you out, I want names. I'd joke about him being overprotective, but my mom would jump in before I finished. "That's what dads do," she'd say. "You're lucky he cares this much." And when you've grown up with no dad at all, being told you finally have one who cares too much sounds like a good problem to have. Then he brought up the neighbor. We lived on the 4th floor. Right across the hall was a unit that belonged to a guy in his late 40s or early 50s. Always in hoodies, quiet, carried boxes of equipment in and out at weird hours. Lived alone. His name was Mr. Harris. But Mark never called him that. He called him the neighbor. The first night I heard about him, we were sitting on the floor eating pizza, because the furniture hadn't arrived yet. I heard a door across the hall open and close, footsteps down the corridor. Mark's whole body went tense. "That's him," he said. "Who?" I asked. Mid-bite. "The neighbor," he said. "Look, if that guy ever tries to talk to you, don't be polite. Don't smile. Don't stand there. You come straight to me or your mom. You got it?" I frowned. "Why? What did he do?" Mark leaned in like he was sharing something too important to say at normal volume. "He's a middle-aged man who lives alone and never has visitors," he said. "He works from home, he's always up late, and he stares. Guys like that don't go after women their own age. They look for girls who don't have dads around. You're exactly his type. That last sentence punched me in the chest. Girls who don't have dads. I didn't say anything. My mom did. See? She said to me. That's what I've always worried about. Listen to him. Don't take elevators alone with strange men. Don't give them chances. So in one conversation, Mr. Harris went from some guy across the hall to the creep you must avoid at all costs. After that, Mark would point out proof whenever he could. If we were leaving the apartment and the neighbor happened to be in the hallway, Mark would gently push me behind him. We'll go after him, he'd say loudly. Go ahead, man. If the elevator stopped on our floor, and the doors opened to show the neighbor, Mark would step in front of me and say, we'll catch the next one. If Mr. Harris said good morning, Mark would wrap an arm around my shoulders a little tighter and steer me away. Pretty soon, the pattern was clear. He's dangerous. You're vulnerable. I'm the shield. And the more scared I looked, the more Mark looked satisfied. Like the fear just proved he was right. He started giving me updates. I saw him looking at you when you came back from school, he'd say. He was standing at his door when you went to the laundry room. That's not normal. He always seems to be around when you are. He's tracking your schedule. I know their type. Did I ever see any of that with my own eyes? No. But I was 15. 2 adults I trusted were telling me this man was dangerous. So I believed them. I stopped making eye contact with the neighbor. I rushed into our apartment like the hallway was a war zone. And everyone around me said the same thing. You're lucky your stepdad cares that much. If you've ever had someone in your family decide that a person is dangerous without real proof, and everyone else just goes along with it, tell me in the comments later because that's exactly what was happening to me. Then one Tuesday, I came home and saw a brown delivery box on the kitchen counter. Mark was cutting it open. He pulled out a sleek little black device with a lens and a blinking blue light. A camera? I asked. He smiled. Extra protection. My stomach dipped. For what? I asked. Or, for who? For you, he said. For your area. My area? I'm putting it in the hallway, he said. Like he was telling me we got a new rug. Right outside your bedroom door. I laughed. Because I honestly thought he was joking. You're not serious. He didn't laugh back. I am serious, he said. Think about it. The building cameras only cover the main entrance and parking lot. They don't see this floor. They don't see this hallway. If that creep ever tries something near your room, I want to know. I'm not waiting for some useless building manager to check the footage after something happens. The way he said, your room, made me uncomfortable. Isn't that kind of weird? I asked. A camera pointing at my door? He must have expected that. It's not inside your room, he said quickly. I would never put a camera in your room. I respect your privacy. It's just the hallway. It'll see your door and the bathroom. That's it. I'm not spying on you. I'm watching out for him. Right on cue, my mom walked in and saw the box. What's that? She asked. A security camera, he said. For the hallway. I'm going to mount it near her door. I don't trust that neighbor. I'd rather overreact and be wrong than regret not doing enough. My mom looked like she was about to cry. You're doing that just for her? She asked. Of course, he said, putting an arm around her. She's my daughter too now. I promised I'd protect you both. Then my mom turned to me. Do you understand how rare this is? She said. Most men wouldn't bother. Let him protect you. Don't make him feel crazy for caring. And that's how I lost the argument I hadn't even started. That night, I lay in bed listening to drilling in the hallway. Little bursts of bzz bzz. Mark cursing when the screws didn't go in straight. My mom laughing and telling him not to fall. When I finally opened my door, it was there. Mounted high on the wall directly across from my room. Angled down so it could see everything. My door, the bathroom, the little stretch of hallway leading to the living room. A tiny blue light blinked at me like an eye that never slept. I stepped out in my pajama shorts and oversized t-shirt and suddenly felt exposed. That's gonna be on all the time? I asked. Mark appeared beside me like he'd been waiting. Don't worry, he said. It's already connected to my phone. If anything moves out here, I get an alert. To your phone? I repeated. Can I see the app? He chuckled. Like I'd just asked to drive his car. You don't need to, he said. That's my job. You focus on school, I'll focus on security. That's what dads do. My mom smiled from the kitchen. See? She said. You're safe now. So I forced myself to say it out loud. Yeah, safe. But from that day, nothing about that hallway felt safe. Going to the bathroom at 3 a.m.? The camera sees. Sneaking to the kitchen in a tank top? The camera sees. Stepping out in a towel because I forgot my clothes? The camera sees. And all of that footage, all of those angles of me, went straight to one device I was never allowed to touch. His. He never showed me any recordings. He just started dropping comments. "I got a motion alert today while you were at school," he'd say. "Guess who walked past your door? Funny how the neighbor always seems to go out around the time you get home." I'm telling you, that camera was the smartest thing I've done. I'd sit there chewing my food, pretending I was grateful, while this quiet discomfort grew louder and louder in my head. But every time I thought about saying something, that chorus came back. "He's just protecting you. You're lucky he cares this much. You sound ungrateful." So I stayed quiet. Until the night I came home early. Until I stepped into that dark hallway. Until I heard someone breathing outside my bedroom door, under that blinking blue light. And for the first time, I realized I didn't know if the camera had ever been about the neighbor at all. I stayed frozen in that hallway, listening. The breathing was definitely real. Slow. Close. It wasn't coming from the neighbor's side of the wall. It wasn't echoing from the living room. It was coming from right in front of my bedroom door, just under that camera that was supposedly there to protect me. "Mom?" I called out. My voice barely more than a whisper, even though I knew she was working late. No answer. "Mark?" Silence. The breathing stopped. For a few seconds, the only sound in the apartment was the soft hum of the fridge and the pounding of my own heartbeat in my ears. I stared down the hallway. My bedroom door was partially closed. The little blue light on the camera blinked, blinked, blinked. Whoever had been standing there had either slipped into my room or moved just out of sight. Every crime show I'd ever watched with my mom flashed through my brain like a slideshow. The ones where the girl hears a noise and goes toward it and everyone at home is yelling at the screen, "Don't go in there!" And I swear to you, in that moment, I heard my own voice in my head, saying the exact same thing. "Don't go in there. Don't go down that hallway." I did something I've never done in my life. I turned around and quietly unlocked the front door again. If you're watching this and thinking, "Nope, I'd have marched down that hallway and ripped the door open," good for you, tell me in the comments. But I already lived with one man everyone told me to trust blindly. I wasn't going to risk being alone in that dark hallway with whoever was breathing outside my room. I slipped out into the building corridor and pulled the door almost shut, leaving it just barely open so it wouldn't make a sound. The hallway outside was empty. The light from the emergency exit sign washed everything in this weird green glow. I stood there, barefoot, heart racing, staring at the door to our neighbor's apartment across the hall. Every warning Mark had ever given me about him echoed in my head. He's tracking your schedule. He's waiting for a moment when you're alone. He's the type who watches and waits. My hand shook on the knob. If I knocked, and Mark was really the good guy, I'd be doing exactly what he said a naive girl would do, running straight to the dangerous man next door. If I didn't knock, and my gut was right, then I was standing in the hallway while something bad happened 10 feet away. I don't know how long I stood there frozen before my body chose for me. My fingers curled into a fist, and I knocked on the neighbor's door. 3 quick taps. The minute I did it, I wanted to take it back. There was a rustle inside. Then footsteps. The door opened just a crack, chain still on. One tired brown eye peeked out. It was the first time I'd really seen Mr. Harris up close. He didn't look like a monster. He looked surprised and worried. "Yeah?" he said, squinting. Then he realized who I was. "Oh, hey. Everything okay?" I opened my mouth, but no words came out at first. How are you supposed to start that conversation? "Hi. I know my stepdad says you're a predator, but can I hide in your apartment because I think he might be the problem?" Instead, I whispered, Is anybody with you?" His forehead creased. "No. Why? What's going on?" I glanced back at our almost closed door. "I just heard someone inside," I said, my voice shaking. "My mom's at work. My stepdad said he was going out earlier, but when I came in, there was someone by my room. I heard them." His eye flicked from my face to my bare feet to the door behind me. His whole expression changed from confusion to something else, something alert. He slid the chain off and opened his door all the way. "Come in," he said quietly. "Quick." Every warning my mom and Mark ever gave me screamed in my head at once. Don't go into strange men's apartments. You don't know him. He could be lying. But he'd left the door open wide. He stepped back, hands visible. No creepy smirk. No, "finally got her alone" energy. Just a guy in an old t-shirt and sweatpants, with dark circles under his eyes and a laptop open on his coffee table. "You don't have to come all the way in," he added, like he could hear my internal panic. "You can stay right there, by the door." I just don't think you should be standing out in the hallway if you're scared. That one sentence, "you can stay by the door," somehow made him feel less threatening than the man who'd installed a camera outside my bedroom without asking. I stepped just inside his doorway and kept my hand on the knob. "Do you want me to call someone?" he asked. "Your mom? Security? The police?" "The police?" I echoed. It felt dramatic. "Yeah," he said. "If you think someone broke in." I swallowed. "I don't know," I said. "I just know. Whoever it is shouldn't be there." He looked at me for a long second. Then he did something I absolutely did not expect. He picked up his keyring from a hook by his door, pulled off a small fob, and held it out to me. "Take this," he said. "It opens the building front door and the lobby. If you feel weird at any point, you walk down to the lobby where there are cameras and people, okay? Don't feel like you owe anyone an explanation." I stared at the fob. "Why are you giving me this?" He shrugged slightly. "Because I've been on the other side of a lot of bad assumptions," he said. "And right now you look like you just ran out of your apartment barefoot, which is not something people do for fun." I didn't know what that meant yet. Other side of bad assumptions? But the words stuck in my brain for later. He didn't push me to stay. He didn't close the door behind me. He just stood there, holding out a tiny piece of plastic and metal like it was a lifeline. "I'm going to stand here in my doorway for a minute," he added. "With the door open. I'm not going to follow you. If you need anything, you can look back and see me. If not, just go where you feel safest. Deal?" It was such a simple plan. So much less dramatic than the movies my mom watched. I took the fob. "Thank you," I whispered. He nodded once and leaned on his doorframe. Arms crossed, not blocking the hallway, just there. I walked back toward my apartment as quietly as I could, my heart pounding so hard I felt it in my throat. The door was still slightly open. I pushed it slowly, just enough to peek inside. Dark living room. No TV. No light in the kitchen. I could still see the faint glow from the hallway where my bedroom was. I listened again. No breathing this time. No movement. Either whoever had been there was gone, or they were very, very good at staying quiet. I didn't go back in. I did something that would probably make Mark furious if he ever found out. I closed the door again, turned the lock, and walked straight past my neighbor, down the hall, into the elevator, barefoot in my sweatpants and hoodie, clutching that little fob like it was the last life in a video game. If you're still watching and you haven't liked the video yet, do it now. Because the way this night ended changed everything I thought I knew about both men. I went down to the lobby and sat in one of those ugly fake leather chairs by the mailboxes. It was bright there, with cameras pointed in every direction. People came and went. Nobody looked twice at the girl hugging her knees and staring at the floor. I texted my mom. "Hey, when do you finish?" She replied a few minutes later. "In an hour. Everything okay?" I stared at the question. Was everything okay? I didn't even know how to answer that anymore. "Yeah. Just wanted to know." I didn't text Mark. The idea of him seeing typing next to my name while I was hiding from my own apartment made my skin crawl. After what felt like forever, the front doors slid open and I saw him. Not Mark. Mr. Harris. He walked in wearing a jacket over his t-shirt, holding a grocery bag. When he saw me, he paused. "You're still down here?" he asked, keeping his distance. I nodded. "Couldn't go back up," I said. My voice sounded small. He didn't ask for details. "Do you want me to walk you to the security office?" he said. "Or, I can sit over there so you're not alone, but still, you know, I'll give you space." He gestured to a chair on the opposite side of the lobby. Who does that if they're planning something creepy? What predator volunteers to sit 20 feet away under 3 cameras? I shook my head. "It's okay," I said. "I think I'm just going to wait for my mom." He nodded like that made sense. "All right," he said. "If anyone bothers you, wave. I'll pretend I'm your grumpy uncle." A tiny, involuntary laugh escaped me. He smiled once, then went over to check his mail and sat down where he said he would, pulling out his phone. He didn't stare at me. He didn't try to make conversation. He just existed, like a human shield I hadn't asked for but suddenly appreciated. About 40 minutes later, my mom came rushing through the doors, still in her work clothes and pharmacy name tag, hair frizzed from the weather. "Why are you sitting down here?" she asked, half out of breath. "You scared me." The second I saw her, all the shaky adrenaline dropped, and I could feel tears stinging my eyes. I heard someone in the hall," I said. "By my room." Her face went pale. "In the apartment?" she asked. "Are you sure?" "I heard breathing," I said. "Right outside my door. And when I called your name and Mark's, nobody answered." The moment I said his name, she looked relieved. "Oh, honey," she exhaled. "Mark is home. He texted me earlier. He said he was going to catch up on work." Home. So he had been there. The breathing. The silence when I called out. The dark apartment. All of it clicked into place in my head like a puzzle I didn't want to solve. My mom took my hands. "Why didn't you call him?" she asked. "Why come all the way down here?" I opened my mouth, then closed it again. What was I supposed to say? Because the idea of him being the one in the hallway scared me more than a stranger? I panicked, I said. I didn't know what to do. She hugged me, rubbing my back. "It's okay," she said. "You're safe. Come on. We'll go up together and figure out what happened." As she turned to lead me to the elevator, I glanced across the lobby. Mr. Harris was still in his chair. He caught my eye, just for a second, and lifted his hand in a small, "Are you okay?" gesture. I gave the tiniest nod. My mom followed my gaze. "Is that our neighbor?" she whispered. I nodded again. Her shoulders tensed. "What were you doing with him?" she asked sharply. He helped," I said. "He let me wait in his doorway so I wasn't in the hall alone. He gave me his fob so I could come down here." Her expression did something complicated. Relief, confusion, and automatic suspicion all at once. "Well, give it back," she said quickly. "You don't need anything from him. We have enough protection." I did another thing that would have gotten me grounded in any other situation. "I'm going to keep it for now," I said quietly. "Just in case." She looked like she wanted to argue, but then she glanced at the time on her phone and sighed. "Fine," she said. "We'll talk about it later." We rode the elevator up in tense silence. The hallway on our floor looked exactly the same as always. Beige walls, ugly carpet, emergency exit sign, humming quietly. Our door was closed. Inside, the apartment was back to normal too. Kitchen light on. TV playing some sports channel on low volume. Laptop open on the counter. And there was Mark, in his hoodie, acting like nothing had happened. "Hey," he said casually when we walked in. "You're home late." My mom didn't match his tone. "Were you here the whole time?" she asked. He frowned, confused. "Yeah," he said. "Why?" My heart pounded so hard I thought he'd hear it. "I came home almost an hour ago," I said slowly. "The place was dark. I called your name. Nobody answered. But there was someone in the hallway, outside my room." For a split second, less than a breath, something flashed across his face. Then it was gone. His expression turned offended. "Are you saying I scared you?" he asked. "I was in the office. I had my headphones on. I didn't hear you. And I definitely wasn't creeping around outside your door." He looked straight at me. "If someone was in this apartment, why didn't you call me?" he added. "Why would you run off instead of going to the one person who's actually trying to protect you?" There it was. The guilt trip. My mom turned to me. Torn. "Why didn't you call him?" she asked softly. I looked between them, the man who'd installed a camera outside my bedroom without asking, and the mom who'd taught me to trust my instincts and then handed those instincts over to someone else. I heard breathing," I said again, because it was the only concrete thing I had. It scared me. Mark shook his head. "I put that camera up so stuff like this wouldn't happen," he said. "And instead of coming to me, you go, where? Down to the lobby? To the neighbor?" The way he spat that last word made my skin crawl. "You went to him, didn't you?" he asked, his voice getting louder. "After everything I've told you, you went running to that creep across the hall?" My mom's eyes widened. "Is that true?" she whispered. I took a deep breath. "Yes," I said. "Because when I knocked on his door, he didn't yell at me. He didn't tell me I was overreacting. He just made sure I wasn't alone in the hall." The room went ice cold. If you're still watching, I want you to think about this. Who would you have believed at this point, your stepdad who says he's protecting you? Or your own gut? Remember your answer. Because this is where the story starts to twist. Because later that week, something happened with that hallway camera and my stepdad's phone. And it finally showed me who I should have been scared of all along. The apartment went quiet after I said that. "Yes," I repeated. "I went to the neighbor. Because I was scared. And because he didn't make me feel stupid for it." Mark stared at me, like I just betrayed him on national television. "You have no idea how dangerous that was," he said, voice low and tight. "Do you realize what you could have walked into? That man is obsessed with you, and you just delivered yourself to his door." "He didn't do anything," I shot back. "He stood there with his door open, and gave me his fob so I could go to the lobby. That's it." My mom's head whipped toward me. He gave you what? She asked. I held up the little fob. This, I said. In case I needed to get away from the hallway. Mark let out a humorless laugh. Of course he did, he said. Every predator starts by acting helpful. Here. Take this. You can trust me. That's textbook. And instead of listening to the one person who's been warning you, you trust him. He pointed at the wall in the direction of the neighbor's apartment. I looked at my mom. He didn't feel like a predator, I said quietly. He felt like the only person who believed I might be in danger. My mom looked torn in half. On one side, the man she married, who'd been playing bodyguard since day one. On the other, the daughter she used to tell, trust your instincts to. I think everyone needs to calm down, she said finally. We're all tired. Let's just order something, eat, and talk properly tomorrow. That was her solution to everything. Time, food, and pretending things weren't as bad as they felt. But things didn't magically calm down. If anything, they got worse. After that night, Mark's comments about the neighbor turned vicious. It stopped being "be careful" and turned into, if you keep going near him, don't expect me to keep protecting you. I'm this close to calling the building and having him watched. He's probably loving the fact that you came running to him. That's exactly how they get in your head. And on top of that, he added a new rule. You're not to knock on his door again, he said. If I find out you've been anywhere near his apartment, I'll take that as you choosing him over me. And I'm not going to live in a house where my own stepdaughter makes me the enemy. The irony of that sentence would hit me later. For now, I was just walking on eggshells in my own home, with that camera blinking outside my bedroom like a tiny permanent accusation. Days went by. My mom avoided the topic. I avoided being alone in the hallway. Mark avoided acknowledging how freaked out I'd been. Then the camera finally betrayed him. It was a Saturday afternoon. My mom was at the grocery store. Mark was working from home again. His laptop open at the kitchen counter. Some spreadsheet on the screen. I was in my room scrolling on my phone, trying not to think about anything real. I heard my name. Not yelled. Just called out. Casual. Hey. Can you come here a sec? I walked into the hallway and immediately saw him. Standing under the camera. Pretending to lean casually against the wall but angled in a way that I hadn't seen before. He had his phone in his hand. Tilted slightly upward. Not at his face. At me. My body went cold. What are you doing? I asked. Relax. He said. I'm testing the camera. I want to see how the feed looks when someone is walking out of your room. You were the one who was scared, remember? I'm trying to keep an eye on that hallway for you. He said the words like he was offended I'd even question him. But the way he was holding the phone. It wasn't like someone checking a security feed. The screen was facing him. The lens was pointed directly at my legs. Let me see it, I said. He blinked. What? The feed, I said. On your phone. Show me what it looks like. He hesitated. It was less than a second. Just a flinch. But after years of watching crime shows with my mom, my brain was trained to notice the tiny things. Why? He asked slowly. Because it's my hallway, I said. My door. My body. If my face and everything else are on that camera, I want to see what you've been seeing. He rolled his eyes like I was being dramatic. You don't need to worry about that, he said. Trust me, it's not exciting. It's literally just you walking in and out of your room. If that creep ever tries anything, I'll have proof. That's all that matters. I didn't move. Show me, I repeated. We stood there in a silent standoff. Me, in my oversized t-shirt and shorts. Him under the camera he'd installed. Phone in his hand. Fake, calm dad. Look fading from his face. Finally, he exhaled sharply. You know what? Fine, he said. If seeing it will shut you up about this, fine. He tapped a few times on his screen, then turned the phone toward me. For a second, all I saw was the live feed. The hallway from the camera's point of view. Slightly fisheye. With my bedroom door on the left, and my stepdad standing under it. Then he swiped. And my stomach dropped. Clip after clip after clip. Me stepping out of my room half asleep in a tank top and tiny shorts. Me walking to the bathroom in a towel with my hair wrapped up. Me coming back from the shower in loose clothes. Adjusting my waistband. Me bending down to pick up laundry I'd dropped. Me rolling my eyes in the hallway when I thought no one was watching. Every clip was time-stamped. Every clip had his phone's video bar at the bottom. These weren't just security footages he'd glanced at and forgotten. They were saved. Scrubbed back and forth. Paused. How many of these do you have? I whispered. He shrugged. Like it was nothing. I don't know, he said. A lot. I have to review alerts, don't I? That's what the camera is for. Half the time you're the one tripping it. He said it like it was an inconvenience caused by me, not something he chose to record. My hands started shaking. You said you weren't spying on me, I said. You said it was for the neighbor. I'm not spying, he snapped. I'm monitoring. There's a difference. If you'd ever been a parent, you'd understand. Oh, right, I said, my voice suddenly loud. I forgot I haven't had the privilege of recording my teenage stepkid walking around in a towel and saving it to my phone. His jaw clenched. That's not what this is, he said. Really? I asked. Then why do you have this many clips of me and I don't see a single one of the neighbor? Where's all that footage of him lurking around my door? For the first time he looked rattled. I delete those, he said. I only save stuff that might be important later. Oh, and my body is important? I shot back. My shorts, my towel, my t-shirts. That's what needed to be saved? His voice rose. You're twisting everything, he said. You were scared. You're the one who kept saying the hallway felt unsafe. I did something about it. I didn't have to install this camera, you know. No one made me. I did it because I care. I laughed. I actually laughed. It came out sharp and ugly. You care so much you never let me see a single clip, I said. You care so much you told me the only person I should fear is the neighbor, while you keep a private collection of videos of me walking around my own hallway. We were both yelling now. What did you expect? He shouted. That I'd never see you in a towel? We live in the same house. You're being ridiculous. This is what kids do. They take everything personally and ignore the fact that somebody is doing actual work to keep them safe. There it was again. Kids. I wasn't a person with boundaries. I was a security risk to manage. I did something then that I knew would make everything explode. But at that point I was past caring. I stepped closer, grabbed his wrist, and tried to pull the phone out of his hand. Delete them, I said. Right now. All of them. Every clip with me in it. Or give me your phone and I'll do it myself. He yanked his arm back. You don't get to touch my phone, he snapped. That's my property. You don't pay for it, you don't get to decide what's on it. He shoved the phone into his pocket. I stared at him. My body is on it, I said. Those are my legs, my chest, my face. And you're telling me I have zero say in what happens to those videos? He crossed his arms. You're overreacting, he said. You're lucky I even told you about any of this. You think other dads with cameras explain every decision to their kids? No. They protect first. Ask questions later. Real dads don't need secret videos to feel powerful, I said. His eyes narrowed. Careful, he said quietly. You're talking to the man who keeps a roof over your head. There it was. The threat under everything. The thing people like him always hold over you. I pay for this. I control this. You need me more than I need you. Something broke inside me. Okay, I said. My voice was too calm even to my own ears. Then protect me from this. Before he could react, I stepped backward into the view of the camera, looked straight up at it and said, loud and clear, I do not consent to being recorded like this. I do not consent to you saving videos of me in a towel, or in my pajamas, or in any state of undress. If this is really about safety, you'd let me see what you're saving and why. But you won't. So this is not about safety. This is about control. His face went white. Turn it off, I said. Right now. Or I'm going to the building manager and the police, and I will show them exactly what you just showed me. He lunged toward me not to hit me, but to grab my arm and drag me out of the frame. Stop it, he hissed. You don't know what you're saying. You'll blow this out of proportion and make everyone think I'm some kind of pervert. Is that what you want? You want to ruin my life because I cared too much? I yanked my arm back. You ruined it yourself, I said. I never asked you to install a camera outside my bedroom. You chose that. You chose to save those clips. You chose to hide them. He opened his mouth to fire back, but we both heard the front door click open. My mom walked in, holding grocery bags, humming some song under her breath. She froze when she saw us in the hallway. Me shaking. Him red-faced. The little camera light blinking above us. What's going on? She asked carefully. For a second, I thought he would spin some story. Say I was being dramatic. Or that we were arguing about chores. Instead, his eyes flicked to mine. And I realized if I didn't say something right then, he would take control of the story forever. He's been saving videos of me from the hallway camera, I blurted. Me in towels. Me in shorts. Me sleeping late and walking around half-dressed. On his phone. He just showed me. My mom set the bags down slowly. Is that true? She asked, looking at him. He scoffed. She's twisting it, he said. I monitor the feed. That's it. I don't sit there watching her. I review clips when there's movement. That's my job as a parent. I stepped between them. That's not what I saw, I said. The neighbor you're obsessed with? Barely any footage. Me? Tons. And when I asked him to delete them, he refused. My mom's face drained of color. Let me see your phone, she said quietly. He stared at her like she'd sided with a stranger. You can't be serious, he said. You're really going to fall for this? I've done nothing but protect you two. And now I'm on trial because your daughter went running to some weirdo across the hall and feels guilty about it? My mom didn't move. Phone, she repeated. They stared at each other for a long moment. It was like watching a rope pull tight between them. I could practically hear it creak. Finally, he laughed bitter, ugly. No, he said. I'm not handing my phone over every time she throws a tantrum. That's not how this works. I'm your husband. I don't answer to a 16-year-old. I'm your daughter, I snapped, the word feeling wrong in my mouth now. And you're the one who said this was about my safety. If it's really just security footage, why are you so afraid to show her? He turned on me. You know what? If you don't trust me, maybe this isn't going to work out, he said. I'm not living in a house where I'm treated like a criminal for doing the right thing. My mom's voice trembled. Then act like you have nothing to hide, she said. If we're all overreacting, prove it. Let me see. He took a step back, clutching his pocket. This is insane, he said. You're both insane. I installed that camera for her, and now I'm being attacked for it. Fine. You want protection? Figure it out yourselves. He walked into the office, grabbed his keys and wallet, and headed for the door. That's it? My mom said. You're just leaving? He turned around, hand on the knob. I'm not going to stand here and be called a pervert in my own home, he said. When you're ready to apologize and think rationally, you know my number. And then he slammed the door behind him. The apartment shook. For a long moment, my mom and I just stared at each other in the hallway, under that blinking camera. Then she did something that surprised me. She reached up, stood on her toes, and yanked the camera off the wall. The cable snapped. The little blue light went dark. She held the camera in both hands like it was something poisonous. Go get your shoes, she said softly. We're going to the building office. I want to see every angle this thing has on file. Now? I asked. Now, she said. On the way out, she glanced toward the neighbor's door. For the first time, instead of suspicion, there was something like guilt in her eyes. Downstairs, in the management office, we sat in stiff chairs while the building manager pulled up logs. We don't have access to personal indoor cameras, he explained. Just the ones at the entrance, the parking lot, and the hallways outside the units. He turned the screen toward us. What day are you worried about? He asked. I thought of the night I'd heard the breathing. 3 nights ago, I said. Between 7 and 8 p.m. 4th floor. He scrubbed through the hallway footage outside our unit. We watched the silent recording. Me coming up the stairs, unlocking the door, slipping inside. Then, a few minutes later, Mark stepping out of our apartment, standing in front of my bedroom door, leaning close to the wall camera position like he was listening. He stayed there for almost a full minute, head tilted. Then he went back inside. No neighbor. No strange men. No intruders. Just him. The manager looked uncomfortable. You said you heard someone breathing outside your bedroom? He asked. I nodded, staring at the paused frame of my stepdad in front of my door. Yeah, I said. I guess I did. On the way back upstairs, my mom was quiet. When we got to our floor, she didn't go straight to our apartment. She walked across the hall and knocked on the neighbor's door. Mr. Harris opened it halfway, then wider when he saw us. Hi, my mom said awkwardly. I just wanted to say thank you for helping her the other night. He shrugged, almost embarrassed. Anyone would have done the same, he said. We all knew that wasn't true. And I'm sorry, she added, for the way we've treated you, for the assumptions. We'll fix it. He nodded. Just take care of her, he said. That's all I care about. And then, for the first time, my mom actually asked him a question instead of assuming an answer. Can I ask you something? She said. Did you ever actually watch her? Or make you uncomfortable? He looked almost offended. No, he said. I keep my head down because I know what I look like to people. Single guy, weird hours, nerdy job. I know dads get twitchy. I get it. That's why I've kept my distance. But when your kid knocks on my door barefoot and shaking, I'm not going to ignore that. She nodded and swallowed hard. Thank you, she said again. We went back inside our place. It felt different. Emptier without Mark there even though the tension had dropped, The silence felt heavier. My mom placed the ripped-out camera on the counter. "We're not putting this back up," she said. I nodded. "Are you going to call him?" I asked. She looked at her phone, then at me. "Not tonight," she said. "Tonight, I'm going to listen to the girl who had the courage to knock on the door everyone told her to avoid." I didn't cry right then, but I wanted to. Later, after I showered and changed into clean pajamas, I opened my bedroom door and stepped out into the hallway, automatically expecting that blinking blue light. There was nothing. Just a patch of ripped paint where the camera used to be. The next few weeks were messy. There were arguments over the phone. Texts from Mark saying things like, "I did nothing wrong. You're overreacting. I was the only one who cared about your safety." There were tears from my mom. Late-night conversations where she admitted she'd ignored a lot of small weird feelings because she was so desperate to believe she'd finally picked a good man. Eventually, they separated. Not because of the camera alone, but because once she let herself question that, she started seeing everything differently. The way he talked over me. The way he made all our decisions. The way he wanted control over every inch of our lives and called it love. And that neighbor? He never tried to be my friend. Never tried to get close. He just existed quietly across the hall. Once in a while when we passed each other and my mom was with me, he'd nod politely. Sometimes he'd hold the elevator. For the first time, we were the ones who said, "Thank you." Now, looking back, that's what makes me the most angry. Not just the camera. Not just the footage on his phone. But the way he convinced us to fear the wrong person, so we wouldn't look too closely at what he was doing. So here's where I want you to come in. You've heard the whole story now. The camera. The neighbor. The breathing in the hallway. The saved clips on his phone. The way he walked out rather than handed over. Do you think he was a protective parent? Or a controlling creep who used safety as an excuse? Be honest. If this were your sister, your daughter, your friend, what would you tell her to do? If you think cameras like that should never be pointed near a kid's bedroom door without their say, comment, "No camera, so I know you made it to the end." If you think I was wrong to go to the neighbor first, tell me why. I'm open to hearing it, even if I disagree. And if you've ever realized you were scared of the wrong person, that the monster everyone pointed to wasn't the one you needed to worry about, share your story in the comments. You don't have to give details. Just say "me too." Someone else might really need to see that. Thank you for listening all the way. My stepdad installed a camera right outside my bedroom to protect me from our neighbor. But in the end, that camera didn't expose the man across the hall. It exposed him. Before you scroll away, if you're still here, that means the story kept you all the way to the end. So don't ghost me now. If you like deep, messy, uncomfortable stories like this where the bad guy isn't always who everyone points at, hit subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one. I drop new stories like this all the time, and I promise they'll make you doubt people you thought you understood, question protective behavior, and maybe even look twice at some of the rules in your own house. If you haven't already, like this video, so it gets pushed to more people who need to see it, and comment your take. Was he a protective parent? Or just a creep hiding behind the word safety? I read your comments when I'm writing the next stories, and some of them even inspire new videos. So if you want your opinion to shape what comes next, drop it below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my side. And I'll see you in the next story.